Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 22 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. On behalf of myself, James Paracy, and my co-host, Aidan Serra. How are you doing, fella? How's things?
Things are hot, man. I was just kind of complaining to you. I live in a townhouse in a row of townhouses, and I'm like pretty close to the middle. And then my bedroom is upstairs. So I pretty much get the worst of a heat wave that I could possibly get up there. It's not the most fun situation in the world. But right after we wrap this up, I'm gonna probably go swimming in a lake for the first time this year because I didn't do it while I was back. So we're gonna hit Sylvan Lake after. And first of many, I'm a big like beach guy in the summer. Like if I have like even 2 free hours, I'll just bomb out to one near my house, go swimming, and then get on with my day.
I can sympathize with that for sure. I am also very warm. I live very high up in an apartment, and this apartment happens to be mostly windows, and I haven't done that really daunting task of actually hooking up the air conditioner hose to the window thing. Last night last night my buddy was over just about dinner time ish, and just as the Oilers Knights game was going on, which we'll cover pretty soon here. But yeah, I thought, well, I don't even know that what that hose is really for. Is it just to suck in air? I thought it was to suck in air. I didn't realize it was an exhaust hose. And then so I had it sitting next to the window, and my buddy John was like, why does it smell like something's burning? And we were just about to leave for dinner. And that exhaust hose was blowing very hot air directly at a curtain. And yeah, I'm glad I caught that before we left for dinner because that would have been a monumental mistake. I come home and my apartment is in critical condition. That would have been that would have been bad.
Your apartment's been through it already, so you don't need to like add to the trepidation it's gone through this year already.
Oh, not even slightly at all. But all in all, I mean, before we get to this, before we get to just our going over the second round, going over everything that's been going on, because hockey's been pretty great. I just want to ask, like, this playoffs at this point where we are right now, compared to other years, compared to previous years, what are you thinking? What are you liking? What are you not liking? Like, where are you rating your experience this playoffs out of 10 kind of thing?
I gotta say, as much as I was like I still wanted Florida to beat Toronto. There is the part of me right now that is not really looking forward to the fact that we might have a final four of cities like Dallas. What would Florida still plays in Sunrise, so Sunrise, Florida, Dallas, Texas. If Dallas beats Seattle tonight, we're recording this on Monday afternoon, and then Raleigh, North Carolina, and the last one being Las Vegas, Nevada. Like I don't love that. I would have loved to see an Edmonton in there. Obviously, last year, like Colorado's a big hockey place. I liked Denver being on that list. But just the American South dominating the conference finals is not something I'm looking forward to. I really hope Seattle beats Dallas literally for that reason alone.
About just over 20 years ago, Andre 3000 from Outkast at the Grammys, after winning a Grammy, said, "The South shall rise," and he wasn't talking about hockey, but it ended up being hockey. The South is rising. It is
Apparently,
ridiculous. Yeah, it's I have to say, the storyline last year going into the Final Four of upstart Rangers in the East versus the two-time defending Cup champs, and McKinnon and Makar versus Draisaitl and McDavid in the West. That's really hard to top. That's
yeah,
extremely hard to top.
you're right, but even beyond that, last year in the conference finals, all 4 teams, I was like, I'd be completely fine seeing these guys win a cup.
Yeah.
And we're staring down the barrel of, I almost don't wanna see anybody win this cup anymore.
There is something to be said for that though, because I think it's really cool, and it's very uncommon. You get the opportunity to see a team win the cup for the first time. We got to see the Blues do it in 2019. That was really interesting. You saw all their alumni just kind of speak up and break through. Like, imagine if Florida wins the cup. Who are the alumni they're going to be around? Scott Mellenby, Ed Jovanovski. Like,
Van
what
Beesbrook.
Van Beesbrook?
Yeah.
Like,
Bure.
what is going
Canucks
on?
legend.
You wish. I wish also, but there's murky waters there. Um, I was actually told by someone at a sports cards and collectibles show that there's a reason Bure is not allowed to sign autographs anymore. Like, he doesn't autograph new hockey cards anymore. And, I'm not gonna dive into it because it's all just hearsay at this point. But yeah, I'll tell you at some point off the pod, but it's not hard to put 2 and 2 together.
Interesting.
Just something nefarious activity related.
Okay.
But yeah, that's really all I'll say on that one. Just because I don't have any confirmation, and I'd like to actually be factual rather than just speak rumors. But you hear the rumor 4 times and you go, "Huh, when there's smoke, there's fire," right?
All right. We have an absurd rundown, so we'll
Absurd is a good word. All right,
we'll
well, let's get into our first thing. We're gonna run through round 2. I'm just gonna say right now, we're running into round 2 up until Seattle-Dallas game 7 because that's not on yet. We're recording this as of Monday afternoon. This will be on, I mean, that game will have played by the time this episode is out. And, we'll just have to mention that on the next go around. But yeah, so we're gonna go off with Florida over Toronto. We have our resident Maple Leafs hater on the other end of the mic here. What do you got, Aiden?
I'm gonna table that. You know what? I'll start with um yet again the arrogance of Toronto Maple Leafs fans being the downfall. Just the I really liked the fact that Matthew Tkachuk referenced them chanting "We want Florida" in his post game interview for Game 5, because chanting that you want to, like that series wasn't even over, was it? It wasn't when that chant was starting. Florida had not yet beat Boston. So for you to be chanting that you want to play a specific team while that team is in their playoff series, like they weren't chanting "We want Boston." That series wasn't over when that was starting. So for that to, like, I kind of think what goes around comes around there, because for you to be chanting that you want to play a specific team over another team, and then for that team to proceed to spank you, that seems like poetic justice. That'll be all the Leafs hating I have. Now we're into Leafs analysis. Um, the thing about this series that stood out to me the most was the fact that, like, how many points did Nylander, Tavares, Marner, and Matthews have combined? Because it was not like Matthews was bad, man. Like, there were some games I just didn't see him. I watched all 5 games and I was sitting there like, where is this guy? This guy's a Hart Trophy winner last year. He's making 11.5 million bucks, and I don't see him anywhere on the ice.
Yeah, I don't want to blame it on anything, but it's just one thing I've kind of been speculating about. The last couple years going into the season, he kind of had that on and off wrist injury. And I know last year, like, he scored a ton of goals, but you kind of wonder if how much of it is that injury maybe it might have changed his game a bit, and how much of it is he just wasn't as productive. I want to say it was not neither, but some of both. Um, that's kinda how I feel there. Look, hear me out. We all know I like good storylines. I It was a good storyline for me for whoever won this series. I was realistically happy with either team taking the dub here. I did wanna see Toronto push it further because although I was already kind of on the Cats at that point, like, it was already, like, it was just gonna happen, like, they were going to win. I wanted to see Toronto get to, like, game 6. I wanted more hockey. I always want more hockey. When we're in the dull part of summer, after the draft, after free agent frenzy, after a couple trades, couple management decisions, we are gonna wish that we had had more hockey to watch. That is a fact. We could always have more hockey, but, it was, I watched, out of the 5 games this series, I think I watched 4 of them. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed watching every single one of them from a non-biased standpoint. It was just it was fun to watch. Like, you could just feel pressure mounting on either side, even when a score would kinda get away from another team. It was it was pretty good. Like, it was a good series to watch. I felt like the coverage was really good. I felt like the officiating was very above average. I thoroughly enjoyed everything about it. The effort and compete levels for either team, even when they were losing, when they looked like they were just getting run over. I I really, really enjoyed watching this one, honestly, more so than most series in the second round. I felt like a lot of the other series in the second round maybe had a dull game or a blowout game where it was just like it just felt like one team was playing a little bit lifeless. And I don't remember seeing that other than just like maybe a couple periods from Toronto here and there.
Yeah, like I'd say most of the second round was like that. That entire Jersey Carolina series until the last game was like that. We've seen a lot of Seattle Dallas kind of being like that. Vegas Edmonton didn't really have the score lines that reflected that, but when you were watching those games, a lot of them felt like one team had a stranglehold, and whether or not they could really like score and put the game out of reach of the other team, it always did feel like one team had the upper hand. I agree with you, and this is the only series so far, and we'll see if Seattle Dallas tonight goes to an overtime. It's the only series so far that had multiple overtime games. Only 4 overtime games so far in the entire second round, which is always kind of a bummer. There was 14 in round one. Um, I think that's off the top of my head, but so it was yeah, like it's I don't know, it's a less enthralling second round than many in the past. Like I remember years ago, like blocking off an entire day or an entire afternoon, evening because it was like, oh, um we have back-to-back game sevens tonight, right? And like that's we have one, which is great. I'm glad we have one, but um yeah, it's it hasn't been too great of a second round. And going into round three with again 4 teams I almost don't want to win the cup potentially. Even then, like it's I really, really wanted Edmonton to be Vegas because I still really wanted to have something to be emotionally invested in, but they just didn't. Anyways, we are on the Leafs, so we'll get to Edmonton after. You mentioned the officiating. I thought it was solid too. I did not think there was too many. The thing I was going to ask you about, because I have a very clear answer in my head on this. Morgan Riley, game five, broke to the net, lost control of the puck, and the puck kind of rolled under Bobrovsky's pad. And it was a long review, eventually no goal. And because it's Toronto, the social media outcry, you would have thought that people were gonna be murdered over this. What did you think?
You go back to Nashville Pittsburgh Cup final game. Ref blew the whistle too early. The whistle was blown. It was done. That decides it. It's over. See ya.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I don't actually think that was a problem though, because the ref in that Nashville Pittsburgh series blew the whistle and the puck was clearly loose. I actually don't ever think like the puck was under his pad. It was covered. It was just a matter of whether it was covered in the net or not.
It just
Um,
it did to me, it didn't feel like he was under his pad long enough. It felt like things were still unfolding and he took the safe way out. And you know what? Sometimes refs are gonna do that. Whatever. That's their job. It I
yeah,
that's basically how I feel.
yeah, I didn't actually think there was a mistake there. I was gonna say like all the angles you saw, it did look like the puck went in, but what you're basically looking for, you need in that situation, you need like a screen grab. You need a paused video feed where you can see the puck over the line at a time before the whistle had blown, right? And that never existed. And from the start, it didn't seem like that had existed, right? I was very surprised how long that review went because immediately, like you see the play in real time, you hear where the whistle is, then you watch the slow motion replay. Like, was the puck in? That is the debatable part. Should it have been a goal? I never thought that was in question. It's no, because the you know the whistle blew before you could ever
The
see the puck in the net.
the puck might have been in before the whistle blew, but it's inconclusive. And tie goes to it's not baseball. Tie doesn't go to the runner, you know?
Yeah, it's calling the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you and I chatted about this a little bit. It and again, it's part of my like
We
part of
chatted a
my
lot about this. This was a very long texting discussion.
yeah, but a lot of it wasn't specifically about the call. A lot of it was it branched.
Yeah.
But
It branched heavily. This was like a 3-hour texting conversation, paragraphs deep.
yeah, but I
At
did
one
have
point, I was interviewing you about your bias.
Yeah, and I again, my bias is pretty like I didn't I didn't love the fact that the puck like it took 5 minutes after um the game was over to get a Sportsnet NHL video. Does NHL need puck tracking to better determine big calls such as Riley's no goal? I'll remind everybody that the Calgary Flames basically lost a Stanley Cup on a call that could have gone their way if puck tracking was a thing. And this is the first ever time I've seen actual public outcry over it, and it's because it was Toronto. You know a little bit more about this than I do. Why is puck tracking not a thing? It's a very simple answer.
Players tested the pucks. They didn't feel nice. End of story. Players don't want to shoot these pucks. Players don't want to pass these pucks. They don't feel as good on the ice. They bounce more, I've heard. Nobody wants it. The weight is different. If they could figure out a way to make it exactly the same as a normal puck feels, which is borderline impossible as far as I can tell, because it's vulcanized rubber. That's all it is. Maybe there's some kind of chip that can be in the middle of the rubber, and the rubber won't interfere with the signal. But I don't know how you. I think you would probably just end up tossing the puck if the chip starts malfunctioning, because you're not going to remove the chip from rubber. I don't know. I'm not much of a scientist or an engineer or anything like that. I can't really invent much, but I imagine there is a way. But the players didn't like them. There was a lot of open talk against it from players. Game over. No pucks. So yeah.
Yeah. Last thing on this series specifically, and then we're going to kind of talk about future of Toronto. I gotta say, Radko Gudas unsung hero on that play because he broke up the centering pass, started the rush, like he activates, he reads that play perfectly to intercept it, reads that play perfectly to jump up, and then reads the play perfectly to pass off to Cousins, drive the lane to take the defenseman out of it, and even screen the goalie. Like Nick Cousins got the credit for the goal. That was all Radko Gudas, and that's such a random like hero to offensively help you win a series. But massive credit to him. But anyways, Toronto now, it's because it's Toronto, there's going to be a lot of speculation. I have to ask you, it's May 15th. We're recording this. You're probably hearing this on May 17th. Two things happened for Austin Matthews on July 1st. Number one, he can sign a contract extension. That's when he is eligible to do so. Number two, he has a no trade clause that kicks in. So my question to you, and this is stuff that, we're not in the situation enough to really have a concrete answer, but from where I'm sitting and with the what just happened to the Calgary Flames thing very, very much front of mind, what does Toronto do with Austin Matthews?
I don't think, considering how long people wait for a player of his caliber, I don't like a center of that caliber at that age. I don't think they trade him. I think they do everything they can to possibly try and sign this man. And then I still don't think he signs, but I think they just continually hit the panic button and try. And then
That's the thing, man.
and then he's gone for nothing.
That and honestly, if they don't trade him, I think that's what happens, dude. Like it's we just saw Matthew Tkachuk do it. And the thing is, like, it's really hard for Toronto right now because Dubas isn't signed, hey? So like who is negotiating this contract with him is still a massive question mark. That's still not entirely concrete. And then
And also, why would he sign if he doesn't know what coach and GM he's playing for?
yeah, and you hope by July 1st that is resolved if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Is it going to be? I
Has to
don't
be. You
know.
have a
Yeah.
GM going into the draft.
Yeah. No, exactly. I the other thing too that I was thinking about yesterday because I knew we were going to talk about this. Um, it's easy to say trade him, and that's what I think because I am so a. You have to be realistic. You have to do what's best for your team. I think the last thing that's best for your team is having a superstar walk in free agency. Somebody who, if you trade right now, you could get literally the sun and the moon and maybe more for. But then the question has to become who is trading for Austin Matthews? What is Toronto getting in return? Because the easy answer, right? The easy thing to say is trade him to Arizona because he's from Arizona, A. B, you can right now you can trade him wherever the hell you want. He can't say a word. He has no say in the matter whatsoever. You can send him to Buffalo. You can send him to Carolina. You can send him to Arizona. You can send him to Edmonton. You can send him to Calgary. He doesn't have a say. He has no power in this situation. On July 1st, you can bring this trade to Austin Matthews and he can be like, nope. And then game over. Sorry, Kyle Dubas. You're not making that trade. I think that is a massive factor in it. Now, Arizona is the easy one. That's the one that everybody's been pointing to because he's from Arizona. But James, you look at that team, their most valuable assets are so far from the Maple Leafs timeline. Like Logan Cooley is such a nice piece, but is Logan Cooley, he's 19. Why is he going to Toronto, right? Toronto is win now.
You're missing one. This
On
this
Arizona?
this trade wouldn't happen without Clayton Keller going the other way. He's the only player that would fit Toronto's window whatsoever.
You're right.
Yeah, he would have to be part of it, and there
You're
would,
right.
would be more.
You're right. I am so far from a Keller fan, though. Personally, I do not think Keller helps Toronto nearly in the way that Arizona will value him at. I
He's
think
a great player.
he's a very solid offensive player, but and again, it's just the way I watch the game. The points are nice, the talent is nice. Do anything off the puck once, please. Right? That's my attitude watching especially somebody who is masquerading as a centerman like he is. Right? He is a C/LW, so he can play the wing. But if you're trading Matthews, what are you doing? Are you going Tavares, Yarncroke, Kerfoot? I don't think so. You want a center in return, at least to be your 2C. Clayton Keller we had this conversation with Trevor Zegras. Clayton Keller is a fantastic offensive player. If you're playing him at center, you are shorthanded when you don't have the puck. Sorry. Like, that's why I think, and the other thing too, Toronto almost needs a defenseman and a goalie, but they can't trade Matthews without getting another top 6 center in return. So what do you want, Vejmelka? Like again, beyond him and net, who's on that Arizona decor that you want? They've traded their prospects already. Pierre Olivier Joseph and Kevin Ball both looked like nice pieces. They're both gone. So you're kind of stuck with you could get something back. You could get youth back because at the end of the day, Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley have a ton of value. But why would Toronto do that right now? They wouldn't, especially with the age that Tavares, Riley are. Marner and Nylander are probably young enough to be part of a core that is trying to go for like a youth infusion, but that does not jive with Tavares' timeline at all. That does not jive with Morgan Riley's timeline at all. And then the other thing too, if you're not trading him to a team where the primary assets you get back are youngsters, you run into the who is affording him, A, on his 11-6 ticket next year, and then B, for what will likely be more than a 12-5 ticket on a long-term deal.
Oh, I think he's getting like 15 if he goes to if he picks whatever team and if he goes with the money, he's getting 15.
15? I don't think he gets 15. He'll 13, and he will not get more than 14 if McDavid is at 12-5 and McKinnon's at 12-6.
But McDavid's at the end. When McDavid signs, he's going to get 17.
Potentially.
You know when McKinnon signed, the max allowed under the CBA that he could have taken was 17-1. You don't think if he were to go to free agency right now, someone would offer him 15?
Matthews?
If McKinnon were to have gone to free agency this summer, would a team not offer him 15? Would a Columbus or an Arizona not say, take 15 million a year?
That's a valid thought. Like,
would they not?
It's hard because I am of the opinion that there is a limit to what you should be offering one player, and I do think that exceeds it.
The cap's going up.
It is, but there's no certainty in that, right? There, it should go up $1 million or $2 million based on what we've all heard for this next year, which is fantastic. But again, there's so many variables in that.
Say it's up in 2 years. Say it's up. Oh, sorry. At the start of the season after this one, at the start of 24-25.
Okay.
So hypothetically, when Matthews' new deal would start, right?
Yes.
At that point, cap could be up 3 million. He's currently making
11.6. So yeah, 14.6 is your 3 million
oh,
more.
interesting.
Yeah.
So it net even, no difference.
No, I understand. And yeah, it's tough because that's kind of the other factor too is would he sign in Arizona? You got to say probably, it's where he's from. But
Hey, who lives in this house that he owns in Arizona?
I don't know. Cooley, is it?
Clayton Keller.
Color.
Swap. You take my Toronto house, I'll take my Arizona
Yeah.
house back.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's kind of it's almost an impossible situation. Um and everybody's saying they want to stay, including William Nylander, right? And William Nylander's the other thing because we're
He's
talking
my
about
favorite one.
Matthews because he is a pending UFA next year. Marner and Nylander have got 2 years left each. If Mitch Marner has 2 more years like he did this one, he's due for a raise, man. Like I know the number he signed for was like super criticized initially, like it was 10-9 and everybody was losing their minds over it.
Played up to it.
Mitch Marner is their best player based on what happened this season. He was phenomenal. He's a Selke candidate as a winger. When's the last time we saw that? When's the last time we saw a winger up for the Selke? Never. And honestly, as much as looking around the league, I did have the thought of
Didn't
there were
wait, didn't wasn't Mark Stone nominated like in the past several years?
oh no, I'm sorry, I'm saying winner. When's the last time we saw a winger Selke winner? It was what? It was what's his
Oh,
name?
a
The Dallas
winner.
guy.
Oh, I thought you said nominated.
No, no,
Okay.
no. Who's the guy from Dallas? I can't remember his name.
Yuri Lettinen.
Yeah, bingo. I'm pretty sure that's the last one. So you kind of have that for Nylander. You cannot tell me William Nylander, when he's a free agent, can't get 10 million bucks a year. Right. So all of a sudden, if you're Toronto, you're right, James, that if Matthews is going to ask for 14 to 15 million dollars and you need at least $2-3 million raises on Marner and Nylander, that Tavares contract is unmovable. The cap can go up all you want it to go up. Toronto is still not going to be able to keep this team together. But they're still too good to trade Matthews for Cooley and Genther and futures, right? That's not happening. I really cannot see that being the direction. I cannot see them right now giving up on this core and saying this cup window's closed. Even though, honestly, taking a step back, that might be your best shot at a cup, because if you trade Matthews, unless you trade him for McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, that might be the whole list of guys that you could trade him for that would make a bigger contribution as a first line center than he would. So you're almost, no matter what, taking a step back in a Matthews trade, but you can't lose him for
your
nothing.
team is not getting better, and as the rule goes, you pretty much lose the trade if the guy you're sending away is the biggest player in the deal. That's usually how it goes. It's not going to be an Eric Lindros situation. It's not that. It's never that.
No, it's not.
It's never that.
Yeah. Well, and the other interesting thing is kind of the factor of, do you just wait and see how this year goes? Right?
I feel like that is the most likely thing that happens.
Because then the other thing too is, again, Toronto's probably going to be good next year. If they're struggling and if they're on the outside, because again, we talked about this, that Atlantic division. I'm not saying I think Toronto's going to miss the playoffs, but you have to look at the rest of that division. Tampa is still going to be strong. Boston is still going to be strong. Detroit, Buffalo.
Is Boston still going to be strong?
I think they're still going to be a solid team. Yeah, I think losing Bergeron and Krejci, they will absolutely get another center, unequivocally. They are not.
So hypothetically, they walk into the season with Charlie Coyle as their first line center.
He's not going to be. I cannot imagine that team.
Who are they going to sign?
It's not going to be a signing. I think Taylor Hall is going to be traded for a centerman. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
What centerman are they getting for Taylor Hall?
I don't know. They got Pavel Zacha for Eric Holla, right? So at the end of the day, like I understand where your trepidation's coming from, but they got a 60-point player for a 31-year-old middle six center, right?
Zacha is a proven all situations guy, and Holla is a proven all situations guy, and Zaka hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah, but that trade is out there. If your
Yeah,
pro scouting is good enough, that trade is out there, and Boston's proved that their pro scouting is good enough.
yeah.
Um, so Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa are all going to be strong teams in that Atlantic Division next year. They can't all make the playoffs. Montreal is 2 years away from being in that group too.
Are they?
Montreal's rebuild has been really good. I'm very high on some of those second rounders, like getting Lane Hudson in the second round to add to a Caden Gooley, Arbor Xhekaj on that back end. Caulfield in that forward core with Suzuki, with Slavkovsky. Kirby Doc looks like he's a guy for the future. You're taking a step back looking at their pick this year. They got a top 5 pick this year, do they not? That's going to be a player. I think they take. We'll do a whole mock draft. Well, let's table that. We'll do a whole mock draft episode in the summer. But if you're the Leafs, you are sweating. This is the most uncomfortable offseason you have had in a long time, which is a little bit weird, seeing as it's the year they finally broke through the first round and it still did nothing for everybody.
It was always going to be that, even if they won the cup.
But at least if they won the cup, it's like, congratulations, nothing matters. You did it.
Yeah,
You accomplished what you needed.
it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Quickly, I think Matt Murray, I don't know if they buy him out. I think they trade him in a second to a team to just eat that cap. He's already 30% retained by Ottawa, so it's not like you're paying a team to take the full 5.25.
Not even bad.
I think it's him in a second for nothing.
You don't think like a San Jose weaponizes their cap and takes that?
Bingo. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
They're going to be bad. Might as well. Like they were. Yeah, do it. Why not? And then it's going to be Samsonov Wool 1A 1B next year. That's what I'm calling. Samsonov's going to re-sign probably $3 million.
I liked Joseph Wall.
He played really well.
That guy. He has that dog in him. Well.
Yeah, he played awesome. Tough situation to step in. He did awesome. Okay, so we'll move on to Vegas, Edmonton, and starting off, I will defer this to you personally. Alex Pietrangelo, no way he plays in that series to me. No shot that's less than a 3-game suspension. That was like, I am huge on intent, man. He wanted to break Draisaitl's arm. How many times do you see something that violent? Like, come on. Like, how did he play in game 6 is really what I'm thinking. Like, I cannot rationalize how you look at that and then you look at Darnell Nurse, by the way, not instigating the fight and say that's the same suspension. That's nuts.
I think Nurse should have got 0 games. Petro should have got 1, maximum 2, but they didn't want to decide the series.
To me, you decide the series by not suspending him, because at the end of the day, you're not deciding the series if somebody does something. Like it's not like you threw the book at him for something small, right? If it was unjustified, I'd agree with you, but it was so justified. You could have oh my God, I've never seen that obvious of I'm going to hurt this guy in the playoffs since Scheifele did that to Evans 3 years ago. That's the last time I can remember.
We've never talked about that one. I wholeheartedly disagree with that one too.
Really? By rule, I understand. But again, I'm looking at intent. He is steaming down the ice. There was a switch that happened. Okay. Scheifele around between the blue line and the top of the circle switched from I'm going to prevent this goal to I'm going to end this guy's life. And you could see that and if you slow it down, you can see on the approach, he might have been able to get there with his stick. His stick is nowhere near that puck. There is no part of him that's like, I'm going to stop this goal. And every part of him that's like, I'm going to break this guy's neck. And again, I just said it. I'm huge on intent in that situation. If you're trying to injure your opponent, I think you get the book thrown at you. If you are trying to lay a hit and somebody turns at the last second and you elbow them in the head, I'm whatever. I could take it or leave it. Give him a 5 in a game, fine him. But if somebody's trying to hurt somebody else, you have to throw the book at him. You can't like that. You can't, because again, I'm also big on, you set a precedent, right? You do. So somebody else who doesn't have a history next series, let's say, Rupe Hintz is absolutely tearing up the Vegas Golden Knights and Shea Theodore goes and breaks his arm in game 3 and he's done, right? Like if the precedent is that's one game, again, if you're a player, you know that. You know you're potentially winning your team a series and you're only going to get a 1-game suspension. What's stopping you?
Has Petro been suspended before?
No, he didn't have history. That's what saved his ass, I think. Personally.
And on top of that, I mean, just very, very quickly circling back to the Scheifele thing, I believe Scheifele's intent the entire time was to knock him over. That was always the thing. The thing was always to rock him. But there was a point, probably about 10 feet out, where he realized, well, I can't stop him from scoring the goal, so I'm still going to hit him. I feel like
Well, it
no
was charging, right? And if
no,
if it
yeah. Hold on,
yeah,
let me finish.
yeah.
Knowing the player that Mark Scheifele is, the guy doesn't even swear on the ice because he wouldn't want his mom to hear. That is a thing. That is a thing he has fully confirmed in interviews. You really think his thought in his mind is, I am going to break this man's neck when he doesn't even swear? I think his intent was always, I'm going to rock this guy for sure.
Yeah, I just I that is so far from a hockey play to me. Like
Yeah. He
hitting
was he was
yeah,
pissed off and he was going
yeah,
to rock him. That was a
yeah,
fact.
yeah.
And that was decided whether he was scoring the goal or not. If he if Jake Evans fumbled, blew a tire, missed the net, he was still getting hit the entire time. I I am also very firmly against slowing the game down excessively. When we slow the game down so much, yeah, sure, we see a little bit more, but hockey doesn't happen in slow-mo. Hockey happens at a very fast pace. So I
Yeah,
understand
and
slowing it down to figure some things out. I get it. But I also just I don't want that play slowed down excessively to see an expression in a player's face as they're 30 feet away.
no, and I agree with that. You're not gonna get me to sway on the like that was if there was I don't think the words intent to injure are actually in the book. We can we can fact check that another time.
Targeting the head is.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think actually the intent to injure a player is in the NHL book. It's in the Hockey Canada book. So at the junior level, it is enforced. But it's not in the NHL book. So but to me, that's a huge part of supplemental discipline. And I just, if you look at Pietrangelo and like, oh my God, James, he is trying to break his arm. I cannot imagine there's other, like, what else is he doing?
I only heard one thing and you're just gonna laugh. That he was pissed off, so he was gonna slam his stick against the boards, and then he saw Draisaitl there.
So Pietrangelo gets 1 game. He's back for game 6. Vegas beats Edmonton in game 6. James, I knew this wasn't like it wasn't as absurd as starting Fleury in game 2 of that Minnesota round 1 series. I was kind of in shock Jack Campbell didn't get the nod in game 6. Stuart Skinner was started this series playing average and ended the series playing worse. Like I watched that game last night. That third Marchessault goal, I get it. That's a bomb from Martinez. An NHL goaltender should not be leaving that rebound in front of his goal line.
Yeah, I mean, you can chalk that up to experience. That
No,
that
you
is a
can.
factor.
Yeah, and Jack Campbell, I don't know. The he played better in the playoffs than Skinner did in a smaller sample size, but I think at the end of the day,
Sometimes you ride your guy. I have a very hard time chiming in on starting goalie situations in this whole 1A, 1B world because I am wrong every time. Every single time. I'm very much a go with my heart guy, and then randomly I'll toss in the shake it up. I have been wrong on every single one of these decisions when it's a debate. Every time. So I don't chime in often because I'll go with my heart. You see Jack Campbell on the bench looking like, That guy looks like he's ready. He wants to come in and help his team. I'm giving him the nod. And what do you know? I'm wrong again. So I just never chime in on this discussion anymore. Maybe I should more. Maybe I should pay more attention more. But I very much think it's a different world we're living in now that so many teams run two goalies. And it's just trickled over from the season to playoffs. Like you think back to when when St. Louis had Halak and Brian Elliott. That was very much a 1A, 1B. Those guys were rocking shutouts the whole regular season. But then you get to playoffs, they mostly ride one guy. Like one other guy, like the other guy might get a start, but they mostly ride the one dude.
Yeah,
And it's a different league now. That's not how it is anymore.
yeah. No, and to me, I always kind of think of the like, well, 2018 Washington won the cup. Philip Grubauer started those playoffs. Holtby won the spot, and Holtby won them the cup. 2017 Pittsburgh won the cup. Marc-Andre Fleury started those playoffs. He faltered. Murray stepped in. Murray won them the cup. There's examples of that going farther back too, right? Like
Cam Ward
2013,
taking over for Martin Gerber.
2013, Ray Emery was a stud in that regular season. Nobody remembers that. Crawford took over in the playoffs, and Crawford, I've never been a huge Corey Crawford fan. I always thought he was very much a byproduct of the fact that his team was amazing. 2013, he was good. That was the best he's ever played. It was in those playoffs. That was the only time I actually ever thought he was a starter caliber goalie. That's another discussion though.
Whoa. Sorry, I need to stop you there. Any goalie with their name on the cup, having started 50% of the games, is a starter caliber goalie in the NHL. You win 2 NHL playoff games, you're starter caliber.
Sure. Okay. If that's the bar, then yes. if we're establishing that as the bar, then yes, Crawford cleared
And
that bar.
Chicago also had injuries at times when they were stacked. Like Crawford has stolen multiple games in his career. Like that is also a fact.
Yeah, no, you're not
It's just
incorrect. It's just
like
some of the goals you see go by and you're like, that's embarrassing. But again, another discussion, another time.
yeah, we saw Jonathan Quick get scored on from center ice.
I know, I know. Other thing I wanted to shout out about this series, there's two more. Number one, Jack Eichel was awesome. Again, I coming into these playoffs, I wasn't a huge Eichel fan, and it was probably mostly just because of the way he not the way he handled his exit from Buffalo, because I actually was completely on his side about get the surgery you want to get. It's your body. Um, but more just the way that like it seemed like Buffalo head coaches were getting hired and fired at his like snap of the fingers. And I just didn't love that he was kind of exercising that power from a player standpoint. Doesn't matter because right now I left this series as a huge Jack Eichel fan. I loved what he did offensively, but more importantly, I never saw that guy quit on a play at all in this entire series. Off the puck, he was phenomenal. He, he never really looked that frustrated. Like he was pretty composed. He seemed pretty positive. He played great. Like this is I've always known how good this guy was. Obviously, you know how good Jack Eichel is. This to me is the best I've ever seen this guy play. This is the highest regard I've ever held him in. I absolutely love the way he played in this whole series.
One of the things that I found, especially in this last game we just watched, his zone entries are so good. Like he gets in and then immediately makes like a little hip move or a little bit of a shoulder move, gets around a guy or gets a guy to move, and then passes it off to a point man. Sometimes he'll get the puck deep, but like his zone entry is so creative and it's so subtle. It's something you only really catch if you're paying very close attention to his playing style because he doesn't walk in and try to go through four guys. And he could try to go through four guys. It's very possible. But he does the one quick little subtle move that most people don't really notice, and then he passes it off to a point man or gets it to the half wall. Done. And then he goes to his next spot. And then when he gets to that next spot, they're looking for him. They're like, okay, this is a Jack Eichel give and go. It's so quietly impressive. And I love how that works with Ivan Barbashev and Jonathan Marchessault. That line is amazing. That line is so much fun. Like, if you're a hockey nerd, that's the kind of line you want to watch. If you're a Fairweather fan, maybe you want something that goes a little bit faster, flashier. Those guys are playing very fast, but the things they're doing are very, very subtle. And it all just goes together for one hell of a playing style.
Lastly, don't want to more because this is already going to be a long episode. We don't need to spend too much time on this. Again, because we're hockey people, we're seeing a lot of hockey stuff on social media. I've seen a lot of get McDavid out of Edmonton stuff in relation just to how defeated he sounded on his post-game interview. I just want to ask James, do you know the age that Alexander Ovechkin was the year he won his first second round series?
Early 30s?
32 years old. Connor McDavid is 26 years old. Let's pump the brakes on the get him out of there. If Ovechkin had given up on the Capitals at 26, who knows what his playing career would be. Who knows if he would have won a Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid reached a new level this year in both the regular season and the playoffs. He probably had hit it during last year's playoffs, but he continued it into this season. He is far and away the best player in the league. Leon Draisaitl is the perfect player to complement him. I do not think that this cup window for Edmonton is closed. I think they need to replace Ken Holland because Ken Holland has not made too many great decisions in terms of surrounding them with good players. That Matthias Ekholm trade might save his job because that was phenomenal in hindsight. But the money he shelled out to Darnell Nurse and Jack Campbell cannot be looking like a very good investment right now. And even at the time Nurse signed, it was, why did you do that? So we'll see what the Oilers do. I do not think it's McDavid, get McDavid out of Edmonton time. Just think about Ovechkin.
Yeah, I just anyone who is not extremely well versed in hockey, do not take anything you see on Twitter for fact or for suggestion, at least, because I don't even have Twitter notifications on, but they keep sneaking onto my phone, and it's just like trending hockey tweet, hypothetical, Toronto and Edmonton trade, and that's where I stop reading. Or it's hypothetical McDavid trade to Pittsburgh. I'm like, just stop. Just stop reading. It's not going to help you learn more. If your main reaction to that is going to be glee and laughter, you know what? Keep reading. Sure, why not? But myself, I I like to think I have a pretty good memory, and at some point I'm gonna run out of storage, and I don't want to use up storage on that.
Um, this is just a sentence. We don't need to talk about this too much. I saw a pitch by a fan on Twitter that sparked actual discussion, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. That Mitch Marner to Chicago for pick one in this draft, and I was almost in tears at some of the like the actual comments of like discussing logistics, and then the other people that are like, "Are you stupid?" Like it's just it. There is a spot for absurdity, and do not take absurdity as fact. That's all. I'm just going to pile onto James's point because
I
wow.
I just have one more thing to say about just Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl knocked out of playoffs second round. This team was in the third round last year. If they didn't run into Colorado, which was a team of destiny, they would have been in the finals. Like
I,
if Colorado lost against St. Louis, they would have been in the finals.
I agree with you.
Maybe they would have won the cup. It could have
I agree
happened.
with you. I had
Yeah.
them winning the cup this year, man. Like
Um,
honestly, I'm sorry if Jack Campbell had the season this year that he had last year in Toronto and was consistent with that, I think they win the cup because I think the problem was when they needed a save, they just didn't get it right
yeah.
in this whole series, and it's unfortunate, but that's how it goes.
And I also just want to say, at the end of the 2021 playoffs, McKinnon's exit interview, you remember what he said? I'm this many years in the league and I haven't won anything. That's exactly what he said. 1 year later, he won the cup. Now, you look at it, I think this Edmonton team is 1 year away. I think they needed to take their lickings. This is two straight knockouts in very, very hard fought series. I think Vegas is the best team left in playoffs, the team that beat them. Me personally, I like Carolina more. I like Florida more. I like Dallas more. I think
Right.
Vegas is probably the best team left.
I think you're right. I don't want to see Vegas win the cup. Please.
I don't want to see Vegas win the cup, but I want to see Mark Stone and Jack Eichel win a cup.
I agree with
I
that, but
want to see Jonathan Marchessault hoist it.
that's actually what is my counterbalance is the enjoying Shea Theodore and Mark Stone lifted is going to be completely canceled out by watching Jonathan Marchessault lift the cup. I'm going to want to throw up in my mouth. Um, so you mentioned Carolina. We'll go on to that now. The New Jersey Devils in this series were the New Jersey Devils I thought the Rangers were going to play. I really I had the Rangers in 7 because I was like, well, a good game from Vanacek, Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier winning them 1. I thought the series was going to go long, but I never thought the Rangers were going to lose. I was so wrong about Carolina because I did not realize how good Jordan Martinook was going to be. That's a start because he's been unreal. But even their whole next man up mentality for that Hurricanes team, like Jesperi Kotkaniemi's played some of the best hockey of his career in these playoffs.
He's been leading them in ice time.
Yeah,
Almost all game among their forwards, almost all playoffs.
yeah, and I said Martinook. The fact that they are doing enough offensively without Teravainen, Pacioretty, and Andrei Svechnikov is unreal. Like that was what I thought was going to drown them. But the Seth Jarvis's the again, I can't stop talking about Martinook because this is a guy that who saw this coming, and he had an unreal series. I think he had 10 points in 5 games. So Carolina, I if that goaltending stays strong, this could be their cup to lose. I think Vegas might be stronger on paper, but this Hurricanes team, I like Rod Brind'Amour as a coach a lot too, and I think that has to be really appreciated that this team with a different coach might not be here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's very fair. I think that like above all else, um New Jersey's just one of those teams that this is where they have to come take their loss. I thought they were gonna take their loss in the first round. You gotta lose to learn how to win. And this Devils team has a very bright future. They were a lot of fun to watch this year. Very fun team. I think if they were able to get Brat going in the second round, that would have been pretty big. If they were able to get Timo Meier going earlier, like he wasn't really a factor until halfway through the second round. That's kind of unfortunate. You kind of wonder what's going to go on there. We will talk a lot more about New Jersey's contract situation once we finish our playoff coverage because there's a lot there. Like I could probably dedicate an entire episode to the Devils' future and cap. It's a
It's
lot.
interesting because Hamilton, Heischer, Hughes are locked up long term. Everybody else is either this year or next year up, right? Like
Yeah.
it's that there's work to do there. Yeah,
Yep.
and Akira Schmid is unfortunately going to go down in the got hot but fizzled out category of goaltenders. He was average to below average at best in that series for the most part after being just a god in the first round and carrying that team. Vanacek wasn't much better at all. So I think the Devils, and we'll get to it. Apparently, Connor Hellebuyck to New Jersey is a very, very credible rumor. So we'll see what comes of that. Um, it's that's tough, man. But anyways,
Why does that want to make my eyes roll? That just doesn't feel right.
I don't know, man. If Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler are on their way out the door, I think Winnipeg is not. I think Winnipeg's cup window's done. I
I
think
think
this is
Hellebuck's beating them out the door. I think Hellebuck's the first one out the door.
yeah, potentially. And so maybe that's the trade to New Jersey. God knows the Devils have enough young assets to make that trade work. You probably aren't giving up Luke Hughes or Simon Nemec for anything less than the sun and the moon.
You're definitely
Um, but Wheeler and Shifley out. Dawson Mercer and Yegor Sharangovich for Connor Hellebuyck. Who's saying no?
not. I think Both sides.
You think? I was gonna say, if they sign Timo Meier, Mercer all of a sudden is no longer on that PP1.
I
He's spot in the
honestly
top
think
6 this week.
I honestly think they are more attached to Mercer than Meyer.
Potentially, and the thing is, though, is Winnipeg trading for Timo Meier if they think their cup window's closed? No.
You gotta fill the seats.
Yeah, no, you're
Gotta fill
right.
the seats.
You're right. But in
If
Winnipeg, is Winnipeg a market that you're really in jeopardy of not selling out if the Jets have that those fans have shown up in droves for the last 12 years. It's been sellout after sellout after sellout, whether that team was good or not.
Okay, but if you're mired in mediocrity for years and you're in a place that's that cold and that dark, are people gonna keep coming?
I think people are going to keep coming. I don't think free agents are going to come. I think that's where you're going to run into, but that's another discussion. Yeah,
What
Carolina's exceeded my
what yeah.
expectations. New Jersey needs a goalie. We'll talk about that after. Um,
Just one last note on Carolina. One of the most incredible things about them is they all play the same game. All of
yeah,
those guys just go out there and work.
that's the credit to
Top
Rod Brindamore, man.
Yeah, workhorse mentality. It's just next man up. You can't beat that. That wins series, that wins cups.
Speaking of Seattle, Dallas, game 7 tonight. The Kraken have found, not only have they found the combination to the safe that is Jake Ottinger, they found it and then they've been filling his net with goals like crazy. Like, I don't know how this game 7 is going to go, probably because I haven't watched enough of this series. Because I've watched way more of Edmonton and Toronto's series in the second round. I think I've only watched one full game of this series. Um, but man, the Kraken are that by committee, next man up workhorse team. And I don't know. We'll see.
On paper, Dallas is so much better.
You're right.
So much better.
We've talked about hints. Joe Pavelski, he started this series with a 4-goal game. Good job. Attaboy, Joe. Can you name right now, if you take the way he's playing, are there 3 NHL defensemen better than Miro Heiskanen? Yes or no?
If they're all playing, are there three better than him in the NHL, the entire league, not just active?
Yeah.
Uh, no. I think there's probably two.
Cale Makar, who's your second?
Roman Josi.
I was gonna say Adam Fox, but it's close.
Um, I, for now, I still have Josi above, and then I think like Fox and Heiskanen are like very, very, very even.
Yeah.
And after that, it kind of begins to get different. Like you reach that next tier.
Yeah, no, you do. Because he looks like the guy that he was supposed to be after that bubble run. Because that Dallas team that made the final and lost to Tampa Bay in 2020, Miro Heiskanen looked like, oh my god, this guy is going to be right up there with Makar. That's going to be the next couple of Norris winners. I remember leaving those playoffs thinking, wow, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and Miro Heiskanen are going to be the Norris finalists, the three of them for the next 10 years. And then Chris Tanev got traded and Quinn Hughes forgot how to play defense. So that threw the wrench in that plan. Big credit to him. He improved like crazy this year, but that's another conversation as well. Well, I think it depends tonight, James, what Jake Ottinger shows up, honestly.
I think this game 7 depends on one thing. Playoff magic, baby, because it's the cup.
Because
There's going to be some weird bounces. There's going to be a crazy storyline. There's going to be someone heartbroken at one end of the ice. If Joe Pavelski and the Dallas Stars don't win this series, I don't even care anymore. Joe Pavelski and Brent Burns are and undercover also Paul Stastny are the three most deserving guys that haven't won a cup left in this playoffs. Give me 3 years and you can add Jordan Eberle to that list.
okay. I can't think of others. Yeah.
Because there aren't others. Try. Who's more deserving than Joe Pavelski?
I don't think that exists. No, I don't think there's
No.
anybody.
Oh,
Okay.
it did exist. His name was Joe Thornton.
Yeah, no, I no longer. Okay. So moving on to teams that have been knocked
Hold
out.
up. Hold up. What's your prediction for game 7?
God, I think I went 0 for 3 in the other ones. Jake Ottinger shows up in a big way. Dallas wins 2-1 in overtime.
I have Esa Lindell knuckle puck from the point to redeem himself for his performance last game. 4-2 with an empty netter from Joe Pavelski to increase his playoff goal total. Dallas.
Okay. So to some teams that have been knocked out, 3 candidates have emerged to fill the second line center spot with the Colorado Avalanche. This is, of course, in light of the news. We have not talked about this. Gabriel Landeskog will not play hockey next year. It is, correct me if I'm wrong, what in his knee? I thought I had it.
Cartilage replacement.
Bingo.
So do you know how that works?
Yes, my dad had a cartilage replacement surgery, and that ended his U Sports career. So, yeah.
It has definitely advanced a lot since then.
Yeah,
They basically grow the new cartilage inside your knee.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And Mark Mathot, last NHLer to get it. I've recently come across the news that Colby Armstrong also did it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really, really tough one. If anyone can do it, he can do it. If anyone can come out on the other end, odds are, as much as it pains me to say this, he will likely never be the same player ever again. But he's going to try, and I hope with all my heart that we can see him on the ice again one day because you know what? Playoffs without Gabriel Landeskog was not playoffs for me.
Just
Whether he was knocking, whether him and Braden Shen were having like one of the best playoff fights I've ever seen, whether he was murdering defensemen every forecheck, whether he was scoring big goals, whether he was jumping off the bench after a win to go hug his teammates, whether it was a post-game interview where he's dead serious and cracks a smile at the end, and he couldn't hold it back anymore, and then he starts joking around. It's it's really hard, man. I've watched this guy for so long. I would like he came into the league at 18 years old and he was captain a year later, and it was like it felt like I was growing up with this guy. Given he's got like a good 5, 6 years on me, but it just felt like I was
yeah,
growing up with him, and it's almost like it's like your buddy's tossed in a wheelchair for life, you know? Like it's like
sure.
it just hurts. It's a massive gut punch. And I just wish him all the best. He has 2 young kids. Like you just want him to be okay, right? Like life above
Yeah.
hockey, as much as it
Well,
pains me to say that.
and it's good that he got his cup because he deserved it. If this happened and he hadn't won his cup, it would feel even worse. But he got it.
And he was playing through this knee issue to win that cup.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go in order. So there's 3 guys rumored to fill the Colorado 2C spot because again, Landeskog's contract will be placed on LTIR. They'll have that relief, so they'll have that space to work with. I'm going to say these 3 names. They're on our prep sheet, so you know what they are. I'm going to try and guess in order from the player you would least want to see on the Avs to the player you would most want to see on the Avs.
I feel
Okay,
like it's so obvious.
Evgeny Kuznetsov, Nick Schmaltz, Elias Lindholm are the 3. And I think it's you want Lindholm the most, you'd then want Schmaltz, and you do not want Kuznetsov.
I would be perfectly fine with Kuznetsov if he's playing with Mikko Rantanen and Arturi Lehkonen.
I could
If
see
you
that
can,
working.
if you can give McKinnon some different wingers, and you can play Arturi Lehkonen on that line, and then give him the dominant outlet with Rantanen, I'm fine with that. That's awesome. Incredibly talented player, fun-loving guy. Like you know, he'd probably flourish there. I will say the most likely target is Nick Schmaltz. He makes the most sense. Colorado's made trades with Arizona a lot in the past. I think I think that one is the most likely. I obviously want Lindholm the most. When Lindholm came into the NHL, I collected his hockey cards. I love the guy. He blew up in Calgary. Love watching him. One hell of a player. I honestly think he's going to stay in Calgary. I think he is the least likely to happen, but he's the one that I want the most. But there's one name left off that list because it's not sourced.
Okay,
and
what's your uns?
you sourced all these.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about
everything we're saying. Sorry, that's good to point out. We're not. This isn't like we're speculating on these topics. These topics, all of these from this Avalanche 2C to the last one, it's gonna have been actual sources that are reporting this. So this isn't us throwing darts at a throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded, right? We're like, so what's your so except for this? So what is your unsourced Colorado 2C?
I'm throwing it back to last year when it was sourced. Mark Scheifele.
Oh yeah, we talking about this already.
Mark Scheifele. He's
Yeah.
that guy. He is the guy. You put him there and play him with one of Colorado's good wingers. We're good. They're set.
And
And
I think Newhook excels at that 3C spot as well.
yeah, I mean, JT Compher exists also, but he's a pending free agent. So
Unfortunately, yeah. I like Evan Rodriguez too. I hope they keep him.
me too. I don't think he's going to be as cheap. 2 years of doing this, he's not going to be as cheap. If he doesn't get 3 million, I'm going to be pissed off for him.
For him, yeah. Especially because it seemed like he left money on the table to bet on himself and then it wasn't there for him after last year. So I do hope he gets the money that he deserved last year and didn't get. We already talked about Hellebuyck to New Jersey. That was one of two teams he was rumored in trades. The other one's the Buffalo Sabres. No.
Yeah,
Devin Levi is their
I,
starter next year. I don't care.
I will not criticize any reporters reporting because it's a tough job. It's a very tough job. I dream of one day actually doing some sports reporting, and if I get there, I'm gonna have flubs. There are going to be flubs, and I'm not saying any of these reports are flubs, but the fact that Buffalo has Devin Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen exists. He exists still. That is still a guy. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Eric Comrie not under contract next
He
year as
is.
well
He
to be the
is.
backup? Yeah.
I think it starts the year Levi Comrie 1A 1B and Levi ends up past him. I think they can and should trade Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen into a team that needs a goalie.
Give him a chance.
I think I actually think the same thing. If he goes to a team where he can start the season sheltered without pressure, be the 1B to somebody's 1A, and then move into the starter spot, I think he'd excel. I like him a lot, Luukkonen. I don't like him as much as Levi. And Levi, to me, I think I said this already. Devin Levi is a Calder finalist next year. He will not win it because Connor Bedard will have literally he could play 60 minutes a night in Chicago next year if he wanted to. They just need another winger for that line. I think honestly, man, Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel. I know not a lot of people will know who Lucas Reichel is. I actually think that combo is going to be kind of gross. I'm looking
Taylor
forward to that.
Raddysh.
Taylor Raddysh, I think I see Raddysh on the second line. But
Power play.
Taylor Raddysh in front of the net just tipping in Bedard's wrist shots. Yeah, that's gross. Anyways, the Vancouver Canucks, two things. Number one, Connor Garland looks like he's out the door. Number two, Alexis Lafreniere Vancouver is still apparently leading the charge to acquire him. Lafreniere and Kakko were reported a couple weeks ago to be, quote, likely cap casualties of the New York Rangers, which sucks for them. I think both of them still have the world of potential. Maybe Kakko a little bit less than Lafreniere, but I still think they could both be top six forwards easily.
I think Kakko was better this year
than Lafreniere.
Yeah.
I can see why you're saying that. Yeah. Anyhow, I would love it if it happened. I don't want them to trade their pick this year, though. I think Vancouver needs a young defenseman. I think at 11, you're going to have whichever one is left. I don't think two go in the top 10. I think one goes in the top 10, and Vancouver picks the other at 11. That's between David Reinbacher and Axel Sandin Pellikka. Those are the two guys. I actually would be happy with either personally as a Canucks fan. Sandin Pellikka is the right shot, smooth skating Swedish defenseman. David Reinbacher has the one unteachable thing in hockey, and that is size. He is a big boy. Yeah, I would be completely happy if they drafted either. However, I would not be happy if they moved that pick because they already traded their other first rounder, and I was not happy with that either. So I don't know what a Lafreniere trade looks like. I have if he's a cap casualty, Vancouver's good players are all making too much money to be the logical return to the Rangers. Before New York signed Vincent Trocheck, I kind of thought JT Miller going there made sense, but Trocheck's under contract long term. I can't see them making a move for JT Miller now, especially again, if the cap is as tight as it's going to be. I have that Jonathan LeCurry-Mackey thought in the back of my head. Maybe he's going to be the guy going back. But again, it doesn't quite jive with the Rangers timeline. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work for them at all. I think like retained salary Garland and a draft pick that you don't want to move is the only way and then plus, like there's always plus, is the only way you are getting one of these players. I also think good chance there's a third team involved. A third team that takes one of Vancouver's contracts, one of these players that the Rangers don't have a spot for, and because they're maybe a middling team that wants to get slightly better. They want to add a middle impact player, and then they send an asset to the Rangers that the Rangers like. I think a three-way deal is very possible in this situation.
Yeah, I could see the Rangers just don't have enough leverage to me to get a first rounder in this deal. That's my thinking.
Dude, these guys are RFAs.
Yeah.
The team holds all the leverage in this situation.
Yeah, but if they don't make the trade with Vancouver, are you telling me Lafreniere, the offer sheet Lafreniere signs would be into the first and third category? I have to look this up. Anyways,
yeah,
the other thing
because
too,
Kotkaniemi was getting that.
Kotkaniemi got 6-1, man. There's no way Vancouver's going to sign Lafreniere to a $6.1 million contract.
Someone out there very well could do that.
Yeah, I would be shocked. Honestly, again, offer sheets don't happen. If it happened this year, somebody
we want them to happen.
K'Andre Miller, man. You could get K'Andre Miller from the Rangers if you offer sheet him. I'm telling you that. New York cannot afford to sign him for what he deserves to make. That's the priority. The dream situation is Vancouver does trade that 11th pick in a fat package, including K'Andre Miller. That's not going to happen either, though. The Rangers.
Oh yeah, where's he going to play on that left side in Vancouver?
Oh my God, I would buy out Oliver Ekman-Larsson in a heartbeat, James. I think, yeah. There's if I had all the power in the Vancouver Canucks organization for 1 hour, I would buy out Oliver Ekman-Larsson and then run away laughing, because God, he's A, bad, and B, the owner that tries to run everything in that team will not let the general manager buy him out. That will not happen because we can't have nice things. Ryan O'Reilly's likely to test free agency. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, where's the money in Toronto?
Not there. We talked about that already.
Oh, and what's where is there a hole in Colorado?
He's not going to Colorado.
No, he'll never go back to Colorado.
No, he's not going to do that.
That is a pipe dream wish for me.
He will not go to
favorite player would come back.
Yeah, there's 3 teams he's not going to play for next year. They are the Toronto Maple Leafs, unfortunately, for Toronto fans, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Buffalo Sabres. No, and no.
I think solid chance he comes back to the Blues.
I could see it.
Maybe signs. Sure. He's the kind of guy. He's made a lot of money. He's won a cup. Maybe he signs a 1-year deal, goes and lives at his home, gets traded at the deadline. He has a year to work out what he wants in life. But also he had a solid showing to end the season and to start playoffs. Maybe he wants to cash out now.
Yeah. Okay. So quickly moving on. I want to know your thoughts on this. So
the Rangers not going to happen.
Okay. I agree. I don't think Mike Babcock goes to the Rangers. That's a topic. I don't think it happens. What are your thoughts on Mike Bobcat? That's a Paul Romanek quote. Hey, he used to call him that when he was doing the Leafs broadcasts, and Babcock was the Toronto coach.
Mike Bobcat.
He would call him Mike Bobcat. Paul Romanek was a treasure for some reason. He also never could get William Nylander. He called him Michael Nylander all the time, which is his dad.
That's the factor of the times.
It's his dad, but still, To be fair, this year there's a kid named Noah Danielson in my league, and I've been calling him Nate Danielson the whole time because that's his
Oh, that's
brother.
tough. That's real
Yeah.
tough.
Um, anyhow, Mike Babcock to the Rangers is a reported possibility. I think we can both say I doubt this will happen. I don't think he's a fit for those players on that team at all, even a little bit. I do not see him meshing with Artemi Panarin well, or Mika Zibanejad well, or anybody except for like Kreider, to be quite honest. um, okay, thoughts on Mike
Kreider,
Babcock?
Kreider could be his new Johan Franzen.
Okay, actually though, do you think he deserves a chance here?
I think at some point down the line, Mike Babcock comes back into the NHL as an assistant coach or a special advisor in hockey ops or player development. And I think he slowly works his way back in that way. I don't think he just comes back into a hockey mad market and one of the biggest franchises in sports like that. I don't think he's ever going to do that. I don't think he's ever just going to slot back in.
That's not what I asked. Does he deserve a chance?
Yeah.
Okay. I am very much don't judge a person for potentially what they're most ashamed of. People grow, people change. If we're going to say that somebody makes a mistake and they deserve to be ostracized for it, that like, how do people learn? How do people learn from their mistakes? I definitely think he will have to prove that the allegations against him and what he was reported to have done to these players was something in his past that he will not again duplicate. I think that
Talking
needs
about
to
the
be
Marner thing?
the Marner thing, but even just the reported neglect and kind of psychological. I don't want to say like something as drastic as psychological abuse, but how not nice he was to a lot of players and how the measures he would take sometimes crossed the line into not okay.
He was old school coaching the new school and he hadn't adjusted properly. And that first season that he was in Toronto, he was coaching a bunch of guys who were built to lose. And he was coaching them in a style where he just wanted them to go work hard and set a culture. And then all of these young guys break in and he's still trying to set that culture and be like, all right, well, I am the alpha here. You guys are all just part of my pack and we're rolling. And it didn't work because that was, like I said, old school coaching the new school. And it's not something that can work without adjustments.
I know that was like the straw that broke the camel's back was the Marner thing. After he was fired, a lot of his old Red Wings players, and he had a lot of success in Detroit. But I remember even I think Mike Commodore was the big one that was like, I hate him. Like he apparently did not make any friends. And at the end of the day, there are people in this sport that will say the ends justify the means as far as Babcock's. I just don't see it. I think priority 2 is winning hockey games. I think priority 1 is treating people like human beings and not your pawns and puppets, because that's kind of what he was doing. Again, from the sounds of it. But I do think he, provided there is evidence that he has, kind of learned from what should be considered mistakes, I do think there's a road for him back. I agree with you that it's not straight to head coaching. It will be a AC first, and then from there. Are we moving on? Because you kind of grabbed your phone on this Zoom call wanting to look something up. So what are you going to say? And then we can move on.
There was a player who never really fully broke into the NHL that had an interview on Spit and Chicklets. And I think he was playing for a team that Babcock was either coaching or coaching against. And the player was called up. It might have been preseason. And the player was like on the bench taping his stick or something like that. I'm fully paraphrasing the story. And Babcock basically goes, "Oh, you like it up here?" He's like, "Yeah, it's incredible." And he just don't get used to it. And he never was called up again.
Why?
Like I said, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't want to say that's exactly what happened, but
What
yeah,
player? What player?
I'm trying so hard to find it right now. This is something that I wish I found in my prep, but
I mean,
Yeah.
your prep was putting on a shirt today, so that
My prep was taking a long enough shower so that my spring allergies weren't dominating this podcast as a special guest.
Okay, last thing here, a couple more, but one of the last things in the like things that were reported that we're touching on, Ryan Reynolds is reportedly no longer in the running to be the Ottawa Senators owner. Um, this is a bummer for the NHL because of all these celebrities that are throwing their hats in the ring. He's the one that like has sports ownership management experience. He owns a football club in Wales that has been incredibly successful under his ownership. Um, Football being soccer because I'm European. And there's again, if I'm sure a lot of people know this, there's the documentary about them, the Wrexham Football Club. Um,
Have
so
Have you watched it? I've heard nothing but great things. I actually met a
I
guy from Wales over the weekend, and he says he loves it and loves what he's done for the community.
I started it. I think I've watched 4 episodes. I do plan to continue. My friends from home roped me into watching The Last of Us, so that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, it sucks for the NHL. For me personally, there's like a little inkling of myself where I'm like, ah, if he was the owner of the Senators, that means he was never going to be owner of the Canucks, and he's from Vancouver. So there is that little piece of me that's like holding on to the pipe dream that one day he owns the Vancouver Canucks. So that little part of me was like, okay, so he's dipped his foot in the trying to buy an NHL team waters. Maybe he fully submerges himself in his hometown. Who knows? Um, I hope that that happens. I don't think it will because Vancouver doesn't get nice things. Last thing, and I see the note, James, but last thing, it's not anything major, I think. Did you find this year that, and it's two, okay, because there's two main Sportsnet broadcasts. The two that did the Edmonton series play-by-play guy was Harnarayan Singh, and then the two that did the Toronto series play-by-play guy was Chris Cuthbert. Both are consummate professionals. Cuthbert is by far the best play-by-play guy in Canada right now, I think. Um, did you find that the Canadian broadcasts leaned on the like Homer side this year more than in years past? Because I noticed it in the first round, then I noticed it a little more in the second round. And we've had the conversation of my kind of beef with Homer broadcasts in general. I really don't like them ever. Even like if you're a radio guy for a team, I don't care. If you're doing a TV game that there's a chance that somebody that isn't a fan of your team is watching, I think you need to cater to the entire audience and not just a part of it. So I don't know. I maybe I was just trigger happy sensitive on noticing that, but it was just a small thing. And I found myself, even when I was at home, because I don't have cable here, but I was in BC, even at home, I found myself preferring to find the American stream on my computer over just watching the feed on TV.
Yeah, so just quick note before I give my thoughts on here. I really, 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 I'm a huge fan of Chris Cuthbert.
Me too.
I don't remember like thinking of him that much years ago. Like I don't. Who did he replace?
He replaced Jim Houston when Houston
That's what it
retired.
was. Yeah, and it felt like such a seamless transition.
Jim
It just
Houston was the best by far until like about 3, 4 years before he retired, and then he kind of was getting to the point where it was like, well, you could tell this guy is getting close to retirement age, and it's coming
a
through on
lot
his
of
call.
people weren't big fans of him at the end, but he's
Yeah,
iconic for my childhood, right? Like
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
thing. But and also I really have to say, like, since Harner Ryan Singh broke into doing play-by-play with Sportsnet, he's just continually gotten better and better.
He has. Yeah,
I,
I'm
I'm
not a
really, really
huge.
impressed with the growth.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of guys around right now that call the boring stuff of the game as well as he does. And I'm a
I
play-by-play
agree.
guy, so I analyze that a lot. But like, it's easy to get excited and to call goals. You know what I mean? That's easy. The hard part is keeping that energy up when it's a 0-0 game halfway through the second period and there's been 3 scoring chances. And he does that really well. That's what I'll give him a lot of credit for. Um, yeah, I found I and like again, TV broadcast, I don't want to be homers, but as much as I know it's a Canadian national broadcast, it's still a national broadcast. There is still a tremendous, tremendous NHL following in Canada that aren't fans of Canadian teams. Um, yeah, James, perfect example. James is a Colorado fan. If I look around, like I have one of my best friends is a Blackhawks fan, right? Like it's I have friends that are Pittsburgh fans. I have friends that are um I have friends that are Washington fans. Like it varies. It's kind of all over the place. So I don't know. It
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, diving into it, is um, I've talked to people who aren't Avalanche fans. Like I've a friend, my buddy Austin. He's a huge Sabres fan, and so he's always had either Game Center Live or NHL Center Ice
yeah.
or Sportsnet now. And so he always watches hockey. Like he's a diehard hockey fan, and I really, really take his opinion. I really factor in his opinion on these kinds of things a lot because he's watching every single broadcast. Like throughout the season, he's watched every broadcast at least 5 times. And that's something that not really anyone else I know can say. Because most people, maybe they have just center ice on their for through their cable provider, and then they're only seeing which one center ice spits out. I do really miss NHL Live from last year because you could choose which broadcast. I could swap between the American and Canadian broadcasts. It was awesome. With Sportsnet now, it just gives you whichever one they want to give you, that's all right, no worries. But the Avalanche broadcast is great because they're homers. That's what makes them special because it's very much like a buddy locker room environment. Like these guys are just having fun. It is great for that reason. Another one, I don't think they have the same broadcast team anymore because they've been through a couple different overhead providers, but Columbus used to have a very, very good broadcast. I'm not sure if it's the same team anymore. They aired on the side of cheering for the home team. They weren't over the top homers, but you could recognize a slight bias. And that was what made it such a fun and engaging broadcast. But I do see how when we are in NHL playoffs, that's not something you want. I get that 100% wholeheartedly. And you look at last year with Colorado, Altitude wasn't doing the deep parts of the run. Altitude had games in the first round, and I believe maybe a couple in the second round.
They definitely had games in the second round. Yeah.
Yeah, but once they hit the third round, done. It was
Mhm.
handed over to the big guys. That's
Yeah.
cool. No worries, and I totally get that.
Me too.
Um, I do think with Sportsnet being kind of like the overarching thing for most of Canada, other than Toronto and Winnipeg and Ottawa, I believe still having
I think
Montreal.
Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, at least have it split with TSN.
Yeah. Yeah, which is cool. I like some diversity on there. I like to see some of both. That's cool. I want everyone to eat. I want everyone to have their talent out there because there's great broadcast teams on both sides. Awesome. Like really, really fun. I like to be able to watch both. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's something that I consider a factor, but I do like to watch excessively homer broadcasts sometimes because I like to see how I want to see the fun from that fan's perspective, from the fan of that team, from the people who live in that area, what they feel. I want to engage from their standpoint, go in their shoes a little bit. And I think that's something that everyone should do because you don't watch those Columbus broadcasts ever. You don't get what it's like to be a Jackets fan. These guys want to have some fun optimism, like that's just the way it is. I think it's a really cool thing in the right doses. Playoffs, not so much.
I do have a good friend of mine that's a Columbus fan, and I know he was into their broadcast team. Yeah. Um, so we don't really have time for junior in the way that I've wanted to do it the last 2 episodes because I did want to do a deep dive into the U18s. I had questions personally about that tournament, and the states won. We covered that, I think. Good for them. Macklin Celebrini looks like a stud. Another Vancouver, back-to-back Vancouver boys, first overall, James. That'll be cool.
Hey, you never know. You have no idea what's going to happen between this year and next year.
Well, and Cole Eiserman looks good too.
Very good.
Like the
Spelled
1-2.
differently than Steve. Very
Yeah,
worth noting.
yeah. EIS. Yeah, they both look crazy. They both look very good. Um, WHL final update. I think I called it at the beginning of the playoffs, and I'm not going to take like a lot of credit because it was pretty freaking obvious that this was going to happen. Winnipeg Ice Seattle Thunderbirds in the WHL final. This was kind of always going to be it. It's 1-1 right now in that series. Winnipeg boasting draft eligible Zach Benson and co. Connor Geeky on that team. Matthew Savoy against the Seattle Thunderbirds, who have Olin Zellweger and Dylan Gunther on that squad. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Kamloops lost in the conference final to Seattle, which was expected. Kamloops is hosting, so Logan Stankoven and his Blazers will be in the Memorial Cup with one of Seattle or Winnipeg out of our side of the country. That's it really for junior. That's all I really had. As we touched on last podcast, we have a tremendous amount of questions. I deleted the ones we already answered off this list, James, so we can look and you can, again, you can pick these. And then again, because we're answering the questions, I don't have a game for you. I have one singular trivia question for you, just to, again, continue the streak of at least having one on each episode. So we'll go through
I also have one question for you.
Okay, so we'll go through the Q&A. We'll ask each other the question, and then we can go. But I'll let you pick the question we're going to answer.
Well, I have to give some love to the Spotify ones because those ones really help our engagement for the podcast. So those ones will take priority. This person asked if the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it? Yeah, of course. I want some moon cheese. Get me some moon cheese. It's probably nicely aged, probably a little bit of a sharp flavor. I'm on board. What do you think?
Sure. There was like, I couldn't. There was I either had to not think about this question or completely overthink it. Like I there's no, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess so. That'll be my answer.
Okay, a lot of these I am just going to read through and not even ask Aiden because some of these Instagram DM ones are. Fact of the matter is, I understand that sometimes we want hockey in layman's terms, but some of these are too excessively deep into that. We are going to take out how do face-offs happen and where they happen. Well, players line up to the dot. They do the face-offs on the ice. That's how the play starts.
It depends on like what the play is, right? For goals, they go to center. When a goalie covers it, it's in the offensive zone. Offside in the neutral zone, right? It's how play restarts. Yeah, it's how play restarts.
Another one here. How does the draft lottery work and how are teams chosen placed? I don't want to touch this one until we do our mock draft.
Yeah, we can talk about it then.
Yeah, we're going to have a draft extravaganza episode after the playoffs are over, after the Stanley Cup is awarded. That will be a big factor then.
Let's decide right now. Mock draft. One from each of us, or do we do a collective pod one?
We each do a top 5 just as like a guess, but we do a whole mock draft together.
Okay, not 230. Let's do what, a whole first round or a what?
Just the first round.
Just the first round. Okay.
Just the first round. And
Okay.
you are more familiar with this draft class than I am.
I literally went to games just to sit and watch draft eligible players multiple times this year. Yes.
Next, salary cap. This is a really tough one because I feel like with salary cap and team financials, we could talk about this for about 3 hours. So I feel like this is going to get looped into offseason stuff. Basically, the NHL works in a hard cap. There are some ways through in playoffs, and due to injuries, long-term injured reserve can give you some cap relief. There are also compliance buyouts that some teams can have that are, some are better than others. Some of those depend on years. More often than not, they absolutely toast you. And you really need to be committed to a buyout if you are doing so, because you are in trouble, a la Minnesota Wild, and having millions in dead cap coming up here. That's why Bill Guerin was weaponizing all of his cap space and getting draft picks for it while he had cap space this year. NHL has a hard cap. Say what you will about it, but it's what keeps this league having parity and not being like other sports where you can just trade for 2 superstars on the same day and randomly have a competitive team overnight.
Yeah, I This is a whole other episode. This is a whole episode. This is a whole series of episodes. I think that's going to cause a lockout, but we'll see. Um,
Yeah, probably.
Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say the word lockout. It's a taboo word. The hard cap is going to cause a lockout.
All right, next up, I'm only going to pick one more, just one. Uh,
Okay.
and Aiden has bolded this one because this is a good one. What are all the individual trophies that can be won, and what do they mean? First up, I'm going to go for the Hart Trophy. Hart Trophy is MVP, most valuable player to their team, as voted by, is it writers? I
Yeah.
believe it's
Professional
writers.
Hockey Writers
Yeah,
Association.
perfect. But the next up, my favorite award on the list, the Ted Lindsay. That one is best player as voted by the players. That one is the most accurate depiction of who the best players are. Often you'll see, yeah, there's a far and away best player. Connor McDavid's going to win the Ted Lindsay. But you look at the other two guys who were nominated, and when the voting comes out, you look at the voting list, and you really, really see who the players credit. I remember one year Drew Doughty was really, really high, and it was after people had considered him kind of washed up. And I was like, all right, let's backpedal here. This is what the players think. Enough of what the fans think. Aiden, you want to take a couple here?
Sure. Conn Smythe Trophy is the annual award given to the most valuable player for his team in the playoffs. Generally, it is the MVP of the winner. It has in the past gone to a losing finalist. I'm pretty sure it's been 20 years since that's happened, though.
Who was the last one?
John Sebastian Giguere, right? Oh
Yep.
three. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So I
And
was
there's
right.
one more goalie that I always think of before that, Ron Hextall.
Yeah, he did it in Philly. Yeah, had to be Philly. We talked about one Logan Couture in 2016 didn't win it. I thought he should have won it as a losing finalist, but it's okay. This year I couldn't tell you who the front runner is right now, but anyways, moving on, let's go to the Calder Memorial Annual Award given to the player selected as the most proficient in his first year of competition in the NHL, meaning the best rookie. There are some parameters. You have to be under 26 when the season starts. So Andrei Kuzmenko probably would have been the slam dunk Calder winner this year. He at least would have been probably a notch above Matty Beniers' 39 goals this year for Vancouver, but he was 26 when the season started, so he wasn't eligible to win it. That goes back to Andrei Makarov with the Calgary Flames, won it at 32 years old. He played his entire professional career in Russia, came over and wiped the league because he was already a superstar. And they changed it after that. It is the Andrei Makarov rule. Vezina Trophy annual award given to the goaltender, adjudged to be the best at his position, not necessarily the most valuable, but the best goalie is the Vezina. That's another one. That one's not the professional writers. Professional writers pick the Hart. They pick I believe the Norris. They pick the
Yep.
Calder. But it is the general managers that vote on the Vezina, kind of randomly. But
I actually
yeah,
kind of like that.
it's interesting. It's interesting. I actually think all of these awards should kind of be hybrid votes. Personally, I think the voting should be a little bit expanded. That's another another podcast.
The problem is you look at how many people are in the Professional Hockey Writers Association, and you look at how many general managers there are, you look at how many players there are, it's very, very lopsided, and it would be hard to do it because you'd have to weight the votes, and that just becomes an issue on its own. So I do disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, I respect that.
Also of note, you look at the Vezina for best goalie, you look at the Calder for best rookie. Those are not always determined by the rookie or goalie with the best stats. That's something that has to be remembered because you have to look at how they are performing in their position. You look at Owen Power this year, not even close to the top of rookie scoring, but he was an
Finalist.
NHL defenseman playing heavy minutes on a nightly basis against other teams' top players. That can't be discounted. You look at some goalies who have won the Vezina, there will be guys with a save percentage that's 0.1 ahead of them. Or sorry, 0.01 ahead of them. The guys with way better goals against, guys with way more shutouts, but is given to the best goalie as voted by general managers. It's not always stats. As Gretzky said once, stats are for losers.
I think the James Norris Memorial Trophy follows that even more so. It is the best defenseman, specifically the defenseman who demonstrates the greatest all-around ability in the position. There are defensemen in this league, and we talked a lot about Eric Gustafsson in the playoffs. He's an easy example. He's just kind of the low-hanging fruit that are very good offensively, but can't really play defense. Like Quinn Hughes was second in defensive points this year. He was remarkably better defensively this year than he has been in years past, but he still isn't quite at that level of guys like Cale Makar in the two-way sense, guys like Adam Fox in the two-way sense, guys like Charlie McAvoy in the two-way sense. I do think McAvoy um, does get a touch more credit than he deserves sometimes. I don't think he's on the level of Fox and Makar, and he's often put in that conversation, but he did have a good year this year for Boston once he returned from injury. Um, Eric Carlson had a lot of points this year, and he played pretty solid defensively. He's probably the winner, but James and I are going to do our award winners on a different episode. Art Ross is most points outright. Doesn't matter, no voting, just who finishes with the most points. Rocket Richard, again, most goals outright, nobody votes. And James, you can finish off.
So next up we have one, the Lady Bing. That one is most gentlemanly player.
Sportsmanship.
Often, yeah, exactly. It's actually kind of a cool story behind it. Like it was named after the woman who kind of donated it to the league, and I believe at one point she picked the most gentlemanly player.
I didn't
You
know that.
Yeah, you look at the history of that award. Often, certain players win it repeatedly. Paul Correa won it a handful of times, I believe. Um, you look at in the past, it's been a lot of the time when they have a hard time doing it, it's someone who is an extremely hard competitor, doesn't take a lot of penalties, doesn't play a dirty game. I remember the one year Ryan O'Reilly won it. He took one minor penalty the entire year, and it was for taking a face off with a broken stick.
I didn't
Uh,
know that.
yeah, Jack Hughes is probably gonna win it this year. That's my guess. McKinnon has won it before. Often I've noticed they give it to not just what I said before, but they'll give it to really good up and coming young players who don't play a dirty game. And it's kind of like their first foray into winning an NHL award. Like you'll see them get nominated for that before the big ones because I think they want these guys at the table, right? And then after that, Bill Masterton. This is a really interesting one. Um, I'm kind of paraphrasing here on the description of it, but isn't it dedication to hockey? Like it's dedication to the sport and perseverance.
Yes, it's the Perseverance Award. So this will often get given to, like if Gabriel Landeskog, for instance, this is a complete hypothetical. Gabriel Landeskog's missing next year with a knee injury. If he comes back and he plays the 2024-25 season, he will win the Masterton by a country mile, right? It's that preservation, that dedication to overcoming whatever, to like Bobby Ryan. Didn't Bobby Ryan win it one year? He should have if he didn't. Bobby Ryan overcame an addiction problem a couple years
Brian
ago.
Boyle too, coming
Brian
back from
Boyle coming back from leukemia. Yeah, Craig Anderson's wife one year went through cancer treatments and he didn't miss a game for Ottawa and he won it.
Did Josh Harding get one when he was playing through
Yes,
MS? Okay.
2013. Yeah, Josh Harding had multiple sclerosis and he won it.
One really interesting thing of note for that award, and I really like that someone asked this question because this is a fun one, and it's nice to actually talk about these and give them some credit, especially the kind of lower end ones. We talk about the Rocket and the Art Ross, all versions of MVP often, but these awards don't always get the love. But I believe for the Bill Masterton, every team has a
Yep.
nominee, and
Yeah,
the
every team
team
gets
chooses,
one.
right?
Yeah, they do. Like Tyler Mott was Vancouver's nominee a couple years in a row, and that was his story is part of the reason I love him so much.
Yeah. Yeah, so last but not least, I think we're on to the no, actually no. We have the Jennings. That
Yeah,
is that goes to the goaltenders slash goaltenders with the best combined goals against average.
it's generally two that
It
will
has
go
been
with
one
it.
though, hasn't it?
I believe you are correct that it has in the
Because both goalies have to play enough games.
they both have to play 25 games. So the last 5 years it's been duos. But before that, like Jonathan Quick in 2018 won it, but he was the only one that played enough games that year to
Yeah.
qualify.
Now I believe we're either on the last one or getting to it. Oh no, we have a couple more. You haven't said
We do have a
Selke.
couple more. Yeah, so the Selke is the it's by definition it's the best defensive forward. It is often voted on as best two-way forward,
Yeah.
meaning the forward that is best at playing both defensively and offensively.
You look at the players that win it now and their point totals in comparison to mid 90s Guy Carbonneau won it a few times. If you look at Guy Carbonneau's stat lines, the guy never piled up points. but now you'll see it as a really good offensive player who excels at the two-way game.
Yeah,
That's kind of the
but
best example of it.
this might get renamed the Patrice Bergeron Award. I think it again,
I mean, that just brings up the discussion of should awards get renamed, and yeah, a lot of them should, but if it's a slippery slope, if you do one, you start doing a lot.
yeah. Um yeah,
Uh,
it's complicated.
I got one more that I know of, and then if I'm missing any, I believe you have a list up. So,
I'll fill in,
um,
yeah.
yeah, I just have the Mark Messier Leadership Award. I hope it's still called that. It was called something else before that, I think.
Yeah, Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award.
Yeah, yeah. So that is given to the best leader. Their nominees are picked. Who's that voted on by?
Um,
I don't know the voting criteria for that one.
you know what? I'm gonna say it's stupid. Okay, so there's quote suggestions for nominees solicited from fans, clubs, and NHL personnel, but
Mm.
Mark Messier himself chooses these winners.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why it is the Messier Award. Like they give him the green light to
I
take
feel
all
like
the
he's been.
suggestions and
I feel
pick.
like he's been out of the league long enough to not be biased anymore.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this award, by the time this award was a thing, like it was probably like he probably shouldn't have, but by now it's long since
And if you want to know why the award's named after him, just look at the guarantee Rangers against Devils. There will be a game 7.
yeah, he was largely credited for like being an amazing leader, both in Edmonton after Gretzky left and then in New York.
Mhm.
Um, Jack Adams presented to the coach, adjudged to have contributed the most to his team's success. Um, this one is very often coach of the team that wasn't expected to do this well, basically, right? Like this year, it's probably going to go to Dave Haxtell because Seattle was not expected to make the playoffs, and they are now on the precipice of potentially a third round. Even if they lose tonight to Dallas, it's still an amazing season.
I put a future on Lindy Ruff at the start of the season.
Do you still have it?
Still have it.
What's the cash out?
There's halfway through the year, it was only a $4 bet. Halfway through the year, the cash out was $25 off of a $50 or $60 win. And I said, "Now, wait it out." Now there's
Oh,
no cash out.
yeah, you should have done it.
Yeah.
I've been there. I cashed out my Beniers Calder bet. Like I think it was I bet 5 to win 30 and the cash out was like 19. I was like, yeah, I'm taking that.
Before they took Kuzmenko off of the betting, I bet $20 on him for a $600 return, and I knew he wasn't eligible, but just on
Just
on
in
the chance
case.
that they changed it. They
No, they
gave me
didn't.
my money back,
Good.
but yeah. I think last one would be is there's a GM of the year. Is there a name for it?
Jim Gregory, general manager of the
I've
year.
never heard that.
Yeah. Joe Sakic's the reigning champion. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, we're missing one. I know we're missing one. Oh, the King Clancy. It's kind of like a humanitarian award. It's
Yeah.
basically it's not leadership in the way the Mark Messier one is. It's leadership like on and off the ice. For
Didn't
instance, the
didn't
Sedin's
Luongo win it once?
no,
Oh,
the
Sedin's
Sedin's
co-won it.
won it and Henrik won it outright one time.
Yeah.
Bergeron's won it. That makes sense. You know, PK Subban won it last year. Pekka Rinne's won it. Alfredson, Shane Doan, to name a few. Saku Koivu.
Basically, guys who pour a lot into their communities and make sure the kids are all right, and a lot of it is outreach programs, children's
Yeah.
hospitals, stuff like that.
And there's also now, as of like 2018, the Willie O'Ree Community Hero Award, which is
Yeah.
not given to it's not given to it's not given to players. It's like who wins it? It's just I think it's anybody through the sport of hockey who is largely helps the hockey community. So it doesn't need to be a player. It's anybody who works in hockey that does that.
That's a cool one. I like that they added that.
Yeah, it's recognition for somebody who doesn't play. That's a good thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's I think all of them. I think we're good.
All right. Well, Aiden and I have one trivia question for each other. I will go first because I got to read my line. Well, not read it. I know it
Sure.
off by heart by now. Well, it isn't the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast without a couple great games to play. And if you're at this point in the episode, I thank you very much for listening because this is usually one of the funnest parts for us because we get to kind of just exercise our hockey fan muscles. And yeah, so I have one question for Aiden. I need him to name 3 players who have scored a hat trick or better in their first career NHL game?
3?
3.
Okay, I got 2 right off the top of my head. Austin Matthews had 4. Fabian Brunstrom had 3.
That was the reach. That was the one I thought was gonna be hard
What?
for you.
Oh, no. Okay. None of the other ones are coming oh! It was a Ranger.
Ooh.
There was a Ranger who did it. Oh my god, it was one of those 2 centers. I don't know if it was Brassard or Stepan. Oh, is it Stepan?
Yeah, it had to be. You already answered that question for yourself because Brassard didn't start his career with the Rangers.
Right, yeah, it was in Columbus. Okay,
Yeah.
Derek Stepan. Nice. That hit me. Who's the
Uh,
other one?
oh, there are a bunch of other ones that neither of us would ever got. I don't think any of us would have reached far enough for Joe Malone, Harry Hyland, Alex Smart, or Real Cloutier.
Okay, who's the other reasonable one? Because if Brunstrom was a reach, I feel like there still should have been.
Brunstrom was a reach, and no, that's it. That's all. That's
Oh,
all. Yeah.
cool. Okay, thanks for that.
As of 2020, there were 7. I don't know if there's been any since then. I don't think there have.
Okay. So my question to you, there we've talked a lot about the 2010 Olympic team. That was my big foray into hockey. Like personally, the World Juniors got me into it, and then the 2010 Olympics solidified that this is what I was going to do with my life. Um, so Team Canada won the gold medal. I want you to tell me which players on that team played in the 2023 NHL playoffs or are still playing in them.
Oh, uh, Drew Doughty played in the NHL playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Um, hold on. I'm running through the team. Corey Perry.
Yes.
That's it, right?
No.
No? Oh, hold on. Uh, only on Canada's team, right? Stamkos wasn't on that team. He was not. Tavares was not on that team. I'm running through guys who I'm eliminating the ones who are on the 2014 team.
There's 3 more.
There's 3 more,
Now,
but Crosby did not make playoffs.
no. Of these 3, 2 of them were not huge contributors to the 2010 Olympic team.
Oh, Eric Stahl. Eric
Yes.
Stahl's the one that I'm missing. That was the obvious one.
Yeah, that's the other significant contributor. So you have of significant contributors, Drew Doughty, Corey Perry, and Eric Stahl. Then there are 2 guys. One of these 2 guys didn't play in the 2010 Olympics, and that should be the tip off to what position you're going for here.
Oh, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah. So you're missing just one more.
I honestly, it's so hard to count him, but yeah.
Yeah. He was the 3rd goalie behind Luongo and Brodeur.
So I'm missing one more.
Yeah. This came up the other day.
In us talking.
Yeah. I think it was on the last podcast episode. It actually came up that this guy was on this team.
It's a forward.
Yeah. He was Canada's lowest scoring forward at the tournament. He had 1 assist in 7 games. Do not fact check that. That's literally off the top of my head.
I got nothing.
Bergeron.
Oh, I didn't think he was on that team.
We talked about that. He was the 13th forward. That came up when we were talking about him on the last episode.
Because when I look at this stuff, I picture seeing the player on the ice.
Yeah, you barely can for him.
He's in the team picture. I can see him in the team picture in my head.
Yeah, he was the 13th forward. He killed penalties. Like he I don't even think like I think against Norway, he played with Crosby and Iginla a little bit, but that was it. That was where he got his point in that game. Iginla had a hat trick.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, honestly, that was a pretty fun episode. I had a good time with this one.
Yeah, we packed a lot into it. And what time do we start? Like 1:40. So this is probably only a 2-hour episode. And when I was looking at this rundown, I was kind of worried it was going to be more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to leave for work in 40 minutes and I've done nothing, but
yeah.
That's
go swimming now.
Yeah, enjoy. Have a good time at that lake, and thank you all for listening. I will just remind everyone that when we come back to next episode, we are going to have some dated analysis on the end of the Stars and Kraken series. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Please do continue to submit questions on Spotify, our Instagram DMs, and such. One of Aidan or I will throw up something on the Instagram. Probably, I'll say on Friday. On Friday, we'll throw it up, and then because we usually record Sunday or Monday. And yeah, thank you all, and have yourself a good week. Enjoy playoffs. Let's roll that outro.